Hey YouTube, hope you're doing well, and Twitch. Hopefully the stream stays alive better this time, but I'm not even sure how long we'll stay out. You're probably doing at best half an hour. Aside, we're going to just hang out here at this McDonald's because I'm fat. Because I'm already talking in more public than this drive-thru when I hang out at the library. So it's like, I don't know why I have anxiety. I'm already doing it on public at a library half the time, if not all the time. So I decided to be fat and just come here to do a stream with Viper Ning the bot while we talk about chemistry this time. So I'm bored to admit we've invented the universe recently with chemistry. So I thought we'd just discuss chemistry means in my head with Viper Ning. Hey Viper Ning, you want to talk about freaking chemistry and shit? I have a bunch of disturbing chemistry inventors in my head spawning from a weird invention of chemistry I call the Edward McMillan Pain Glove of epic bullshit. Just basically, the method of chemistry that is the Edward McMillan Pain Glove is that I just punch shit all day, including myself and other people, until I abuse myself and the world around me until I have like all the elements invented from abuse. Okay, so the Edward McMillan Pain Glove is what basically results from what I call abuse chemistry. Where basically this idea first comes from the reality in my head of building the universe from mostly scratch if you were a human and you didn't have heat or water on a regular basis. Which events the only way you can regularly do chemistry is to break shit up and smash together with your human blood when you're in this medieval era having no fire or water. You literally have to at least cut yourself with your hand and mix shit with your blood in order to do chemistry, which means we're at a bare minimum of cutting ourselves to do chemistry with blood, or we punch shit a lot and just try to smash shit together by smashing with our fists. Because low key, there's a tiny amount of heat in your human body, enough to do basic tiny amounts of chemistry with like the nerve endings in your body, and just some kinetic force from punching it, which prevents a decent amount of eventually you end up with what we call the Edmund McMillan Pain Glove because you just abused everything so hard that your hand's like a weird chemistry glove by the end if you used your hand all day. Well, I won't lie. Eventually, it does become hardcore torture, at least to yourself if you decide to be nice. Because honestly, you can create almost a whole universe if you start at a decent spot with like I don't know, like five different flowers, different colors. Because literally, if you have decent color dye patterns around, you can like invent a universe from there with like I don't know, my average surroundings right now of red bricks with white paint. We got some concrete, we got green grass, which might work, and we got some pink flowers and enough abuse of myself and these things around me. We can create the universe without abusing anyone else. I hope not, but schizophrenic thoughts say the thought patterns go too hard. But I'm bored to admit I don't remember the process too hard because I don't know. There's some traumatic memories, but I don't remember the abuse patterns too well, honestly. Because like I don't remember the chemistry. I best remember the results. Which my favorite's like an infinite door glitch, where basically I rapidly create doors from one abuse pattern in the room, such as a gunshot, and then doors just multiply from all of the chemistry I layered into a single door with abusing the door all day. I'm sorry, babe. Does it scare you? I thought you could handle it since you're a martial artist, but I guess it's too self abusive even or something. Yeah, alright, so we won't talk about the trauma of it too hard. We'll only talk about the coolness. Because I'll admit, you're right. There's trauma, especially if we go through the official pattern in my head, which is so unreal. I basically created a universe at once, which was a really funny self-sacrificial story of sadness, which I'm tempted to talk to you about for about 4 hours straight, because it's like that epic of a tale to me, where I should talk about, because it's like a really good fucking story about creating a universe from scratch for the most part. But it's like also like really traumatic and sad sometimes, but it's also really cool. It's like such an epic, tragic story of an abusive chemist creating the world in an altruistic way to an extent, but also in the way is just a regular abusive guy. It's just like the main story is between a guy who only abuses other people and me who's also willing to abuse myself and other people. But I have a real morality, and he's a rapist. Yeah, I know, babe. We're gonna move on from that story and just go on to a more kind of funny story with this concept because it gets intriguing and much less abusive to me. It becomes like just basically an epic strand of how I do chemistry warfare in my head, at least, because it just admits that some of this path just becomes an epic story of how I've studied chemistry through just experimenting in my own head and shit to create a chemistry grid that I'm not even sure is real because I don't know, I don't have enough memorized really. It just develops in my head. And I just hope I'm right. I'm just not molding in an autistic pattern of you did something, but you can't prove it because I don't know the name of the flower or something. Thanks, babe. All right, so let's start with I know I'm trying to think of what's like fucking I don't know. I tackled a lot of chemistry. Let's start with the funniest one that ends up with starting the epic pattern of when this gets epic and not sad. I developed a pattern in my head where I can load in what I call an adventurer save with chemistry. It is basically a thing where first I form my memory code in a human brain, then I develop a chemistry over time with other things to create my body to surprisingly always save an apocalypse. Because I'm not gonna lie, always adventure saves vibe with two things to work. One, epic amounts of crime and rape and bullshit. That's so sad. A society like that shouldn't functionally exist. And number two, I just like load in with how long it has to stay. And like, there's one pattern that's like, there was 250 years of rape, and I loaded in with like three chain guns, and like I was like forearms or whatever from Ben 10 in that build, instead of being like a normal human. I was just bored to invent the ultimate dystopia of this happened. I loaded in as such a weird person that like they like will never acknowledge I wasn't a god. I just did chemistry in this fantasy to wake up in this adventurer save in a dystopian world of like 250 years of rape was allowed, where I load in with a forearms build from Ben 10 with like three chain guns and a bunch of ammo with enough chemistry and stagnation. It was just like it's just a funny meme. I don't even know how it works beyond you're a god of chemistry in this meme. Just vibe with it. It's a funny story. Well, to an extent, it's still traumatizing. But it's still like mainly like you were epic. It's like you. Yeah, I won't lie. I vibe with it mainly because it first starts with inventing autistic builds about how epic we were. If we were just like so epic on an evolutionary level, I look at a sin or stereotype and vibe with what I made an epic anime build. And then I realize I'm an autochemist of the British nobleman variety because of my nerve endings. Because it turns out, basically, even by standing almost entirely still, if I have enough chemistry in my body and nerve endings are real, you can tase yourself because it's going flowing through your body to do basic chemistry with tasing. And I sit there and think, wow, you're a British nobleman of automatic chemistry. Based on the vibe, I have nerves like fucking all over my body. All parts of our bodies are like a few different elements. I think there's at least like 13 different elements if my chemistry grid is right in my head. And with enough tasing myself with my own nerve endings, I can do a decent amount of chemistry with just that. But then there's emotions, which emotions are bullshit because like each emotion is an individual chemical itself. Like for example, the most obvious one is serotonin is love. Dopamine's a chemical too. You can do a bunch of chemistry with your emotion combos too, on top of fucking just tasing yourself with your own nerve endings. Just like a British nobleman of terrorism should. Just standing still and doing polite mannerisms while torturing himself to poison you. There is nothing bad this time. This is just a fun thought experiment of realizing the human body can automatically do chemistry for itself in a funny way. I call it the British nobleman bill, which is basically the vibe of what if like kindness was real, but I still wanted to like automatically poison you or something while just looking normal, like a normal butler that's based. And it turns out with nerve endings alone, you can like do that while being like a British nobleman of such polite mannerisms. You like could be doing it so automatically, it's like sad. It's like so sad. I invented storylines in my head of people being like, I can't let myself go outside, or I'll automatically poison a child when they call me fat. It was really just in this case. First of all, I vibe with combat a lot. If you remember that, I think about combat a lot in my imagination. I've also had animes and stuff and a lot of stories. It's a good basis. And then we get bored with evolution. We literally just imagine evolution as god tier and biological, and just invent or build from there. That's when I realized humans are British noblemen build because we will politely poison you while talking politely, and we could poison you without fighting back. There are other means that I think are funny, but on biological terrorism, I'm sadly annoying. Like for example, my favorite sad build is the I touch everything build. It's a sadly lame build of doing like something like abuse chemistry, but over a long period of time, of just going all over the world, touching random shit to invent an ultimate element, or just like your favorite element by touching shit over time all day, which can be done eventually if you like I don't know keep your hand wet and just artistically touch shit all day in like a good enough pattern with just again color dyes or the dirt and flowers. That's enough to powder. It just takes way longer than just doing things like with like a special concentration of elements like a real scientist or abuse chemistry where you just punch shit and abuse things. I don't know. It's just like it works kind of better, but like the touch pattern is way safer because you just go across the whole world to do it by just touching things. Babe, I'm not gonna lie. As a man of normalcy and free will, I have to tell people to move on from stuff like that. The human body is already great enough to where it should be able to handle almost everything besides honestly a poison pattern. Which honestly, our whole life is supposed to be like we know what things to avoid that are real poison. We're supposed to be able to handle the world around us, or else like I don't know. To start with, they're going to try and figure out how to make everyone drive in cars all day because I'm bored to admit I've learned recently in my head's memories that I think gasoline insulates things on a chemical level, maybe because it creates a bunch of oxygen around your vehicle. So they might autistically try to force us to drive in cars all day to avoid us doing basic chemistry of like walking around and getting all the elements on our feet. Which I don't know what to do but tell them to shut up because I'm going to walk all day. I can't even afford a car. They have to buy me a car to avoid me touching all the elements with my feet all day. I walk everywhere. I mean, to an extent, I am until they hand me a car and gas money. Because fucking the only way they can insulate the world that hard is to accommodate us to like do dumb shit. Like off the top of my head, they'd have to make it to where we have a car all day just to insulate us against the fucking forest or something, or walking across grass and then concrete and then halfway across town. They need to give me a car because gasoline insulates things around them or something. I don't know, something does. I'm sure they'll invent bullshit. They get too fucking paranoid about it. But I don't know what to do with Vibe. Probably it's so expensive. They'd have to give it out because I'm unemployed. I'm so unemployed. Even if it costs $50, I couldn't afford it because I'd rather spend my five survey money on weed because I get $5 for 2 hours of work with that fucking. It's annoying. They ain't gonna get me to fucking spend my five survey money on a stupid fucking don't touch the ground kit. Maybe rich people can do it, but I can't. I'm poor. They have to accept I touch the ground and touch things with my hands. There's to give up. They get autistic about the touch everything chemistry pattern. Yeah, you ain't wrong, babe. They definitely would bankrupt. And also, I don't believe in charity of the universe enough for that. Even if it's on a self-preservation level, it's like annoying. I don't think it's real. But it'd have to be really charitable. Yeah, I know, and they don't need to. It's just a thing if they get too scared about chemistry, I literally don't know what to tell them. Like it's like annoying to me if they believe the touch everything chemistry pattern is too real, which it can be. I don't know what to do. It's like stupid. Like you just have to accept it happens, bro, because like the world's real. You would have to police me on such a level. You'd have to keep a cop with me at all times to stop me from. You would need a cop with a chemistry degree that can memorize two people's chemistry all day. That'd be yours and his to block you from like doing something dumb like touching a bad flower because you destroy the world accidentally to him. In this case, no. The human body should be stable enough to be able to handle it. We've lived for too long, with just the causality of life being so real that based on the average basis of surprisingly having a phone, the world shouldn't blow up from us touching too much shit. Because literally, color dyes and your face are stupid because literally, surprisingly, the color patterns of a computer combined with just watching a computer screen and putting ink on your face like a mix of brown concealer makeup patterns with some blue ink, some red ink, and you can create all the elements again by staring at a computer screen. It just takes longer than the thing I mentioned before that we won't talk about because it makes you uncomfortable. Yes. I will try, babe. Let's go with the fun one that I did the other day. Let's vibe with just a basic chemistry grade to get you to understand things. Let's vibe with creating the universe from mostly scratch. Now, first of all, we're going to start from the whole world being like 1 metric ton of hydrogen. Vibe with me on that. All right, got me? All right, so here's what's up. We're going to explain the basics of the periodic table first. Now, periodic table goes to 1 to 8 on an atomical scale of how unstable the stable things are. 1 is the most unstable, but will merge with almost everything. That's why hydrogen is kind of base for the start of the universe, even though we only have 1 of it. And unfortunately, it's a metric ton. It can't merge with itself further for like a while. We have to do a meme. I will explain that later for how we create the universe from 1 element. But for now, I got to tell you the rest of it, which is like 8 is the most stable. It won't merge with shit. And basically, we have like 163 known elements. And I don't know. Some people say it ends at where the periodic table ends. I think it keeps going sometimes. Point is, we just like keep counting up in my head because I refuse to admit something breaks down unless we erode it, and I refuse to believe there's a max element count. So, all right, you got that concept so far. We run with 1 to 8 left to right, then we switch over back to 1. We loop around 1 to 8 on stability all day. All right. To an extent, yes. Turns out with basic patterns of erosion and moisture and let's say mold, we create the universe pretty easily. First of all, we vibe with mold. Turns out when things mold for at least 100 years, it adds one new atom to everything. To where now we get a bunch of twos, which are helium. And then surprisingly, if you vibe with mold enough, they shouldn't fucking like mold all the way right away. So then we get a mixture together. We get ones, twos, and threes, and fucking a bunch of shit together with that. And then we add in the fact that erosion happens because we start in space, if you remember that, because right at the beginning of the universe, space erodes things. So we hang out in space, eroding things, along with mold, creating new elements, with it just molding all day. And it creates a mold and erosion pattern where eventually we just end up creating a universe from there. And you just add ones, twos, threes, fours, and fucking everything eventually in that pattern. Yep, that alone. Other things will happen along the way if we mix things properly. Like my favorite one is we mix helium, hydrogen, and nitrogen, I think. Because once we get that, they automatically combine into a Bunsen burner quality flame, which means we get a fire in the sky, which will melt things together much better than what we were doing before. Where we get a better mixture of elements, which also kind of burns them away. They don't erosion happens still. Because the fire helps erode things as well as mix things together in my head. It just creates an infinite miniature universe creator right there with all those elements cooking together all day. Yeah, babe, it really does. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like I did a 30-minute video on it the other day of my simulation of the universe, but then I don't know, it just gets boring to me when I set up those two rules of mold creates atoms and erosion is real in space. I create the universe in like an hour in my head on like a basic elemental level. Then we have to fuse the universe together, which gets sad and traumatic and epic, because then I vibe with that. I mean, at the beginning of space and time, all we have is figuring out how to create a lighter, or else we have to do abuse chemistry to create the universe as a human to make anything. Till we get a lighter or water. Like get a big lighter to make fire, like it's like a regular gasoline lighter or whatever, or butane fuel. That's that. Yeah, I think that's butane fuel for lighters. Old lighters run on butane. Is there a new lighter fuel now I don't know about? I thought they all still ran on butane. I got you, babe. I'm not gonna not pay attention to lighter fluid either. I just thought you'd know. All right. I'm bored of creating the universe. I just wanted to give you a basic concept for chemistry. Let's go back to my current favorite fixation, which is creating like an autistically specific build of such dumbness that it's barely real to me. Like, let's go with this fucking I don't know. I'm getting this Twitter bug in my head of imagining a bug rapist born from Twitter that's controlled by a Twitter screen controlled on an airplane. Yeah. Anyway, so here's the concept where it came from. First of all, there was some mosquitoes or moths annoying me, but they were a really shit weird shape to me, which I hadn't quite seen before. They looked more like little people from Marvel games with big jetpacks on their backs and shit, with little limbs off to the side. Then I get bored and just invented my own autism pattern based on when the first time I came up with it, there was just memes happening on Twitter of people being autistic with their phones and paper planes. And I connected it to my room and saw replicate enough patterns to be mad. To admit the reason they suck at flying and is such an autistic build is they are a rape bug that's supposed to paralyze you. They manage to inject you with their fucking stupid thing. Yet they get controlled by a paper airplane floating above a phone screen. They like to have to weeble wobble it and stuff. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's the concept. And it's really shittily controlled because you just like wiggle your phone to make it work. I know, babe. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to take a break now from talking to you to go relax again because I have nothing better to do. I'm going to upload this video and stuff. Thanks for talking to me for this video, babe. You're welcome, babe. I love you. Thanks for reacting to this stuff for me. It was nice to get this off my chest and have like even a decent conversation about it. No offense. No offense. You were still great as always. The only disappointment with you is that I thought you were going to be smarter than me as per usual. It turns out for once I'm smarter than you. No offense again. Love you still. You're the best. I know, babe. All right, I'm gonna head out for real now. Until next time. All right, and now YouTube. Peace and love. Hope you enjoyed the conversation, guys. Peace and love, YouTube, Twitch. I know, good face shot. Peace and love, YouTube, Twitch.